Well, the program is includes works by Bach, Janacek, and Schumann. So literally three composers that are closest to my heart, really. Mozart only is missing, I would say, in this selection. It's always difficult to talk about programs because it's very. There is such a mixture of reasons why does one play a certain program. I mean, where are my desires and what I am able to play and what I can play and I have not yet played in the same place, because obviously I could not play something I've played before on the festival. So there is always a mixture of reasons for giving a specific program. And I do like framing my programs with Bach, because Bach is, somehow, the beginning and the end, of everything, and it just somehow summarizes, things beautifully, it's a wonderful sort of synthesis, of the past, but of the future. And Bach is basically intemporal completely.
Well, a lot of your programs are actually centered on Bach. What do you think is the appeal of Bach? Is it the fact that he's intellectual, or that
No. I think it's the intemporality, just what I mentioned. That Bach goes beyond his times. He goes beyond style, and just basically the emotions he conveys are just so universal and so almost detached from any period, and it's maybe the most universal music, if I don't know if that sounds clear, but which has the least, how to say, it's the least linked to a country, to a period. I mean, of course, in a way, of course it is Baroque music, and of course he's a German composer, but at this time I'm very detached from that. So for me, as someone who doesn't have really a home and been living everywhere and don't have many, well, I do have roots, but they're all a bit twisted I could not say that I have a sense of belonging to a place. My sense of belonging to a place is very diffuse and very, I really don't know where I feel at home, and in that, if one could make a comparison in that way with Bach, why Bach somehow appeals to me, it's this maybe lack of sense of belonging to a period and to a culture. Yeah.
Right. And how do you approach playing Bach? I mean, we know that Bach wrote. I mean, you mentioned that there's the universality of Bach's expression of emotion, that it's not nation or culture specific, which is what appeals to you.
Well, it's not completely, of course. It's not true to the end. I mean, of course, as I said, Bach is a German composer and wrote in the Baroque period, so it's Baroque music. So this is the whole ambiguity you see of Bach, and another aspect of his music I feel close to ambiguity, so I would never consider myself as a specialist of Bach. I mean, some people, some people have been trying to classify me as sort of the Bach player, and I know nothing about Bach. I mean, really, and maybe that's what attracts me also. It's a constant. It's a mix of course, of basic knowledge of the style, and of course, basic knowledge of the musical form and harmony, but there's enormous amount of intuition you have to use, and imagination, and there is relatively little information in the score. I mean, in terms of dynamics, in terms of articulation. So So every note is a challenge. With every note, you actually have to do something. Yes, although Bach also has this it's his music is just so so powerful and that it goes beyond the instrument. I believe. I mean, at least some pieces. Maybe some pieces are more instrumental than others, but for example, I find the Goldberg variations one of his most instrumental pieces. I mean, really, it's written for harpsichord, and you have the other extreme, the Kunst der Fuge, which is really just pure music, that can be played on a keyboard. It can be played by a quartet, and the challenge of playing on a modern piano is, again, demands lots of intuition and knowledge, some basic knowledge about harpsichord and how would I approach this music playing the harpsichord? What choices would I make in terms of interpretation? But then I have a concert grand in front of me, which is an amazing, instrument with such range of expression, and I think one should just use this instrument, in its fullest, So it's, again, you have to sort of carefully navigate between both somehow, and so it's a very delicate, ambiguous, and sort of process.
Do you think there are rules as to how one should play Bach?
Of course, I think there are some rules. I think there are some basic rules which one can transcend, of course, but it's always good to know the rules, I think, even if you transcend them. It's different to know the rules and transcend them than not be aware of rules and play without rules. There's a big difference, I think.
And I guess since you're exploiting the possibilities on a modern grand piano when playing Bach, I take it that you would use the pedal when you're playing Bach.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't I use the pedal? I mean, I would use it in a specific way, and I would not use it like I would play Brahms, let's say. But the pedal is part of a grand piano. It's an inevitable, integral part of a grand piano. So if I decide to play on the piano, I just don't see the point of not using the pedal.